Wednesday, the 2nd of May 2018, 1:44 p.m. Press release, New Zealand Defence Force NZDF begins repatriation of Navy engineer in American Samoa. The repatriation of a Royal New Zealand Navy engineer has begun in American Samoa today, following a graveside blessing ceremony at Satala Cemetery in Pago Pago. Engineering mechanic First Class Russell Moore died in an accident on the survey vessel HMNZS Lachlan in 1956. The repatriation is part of Project Te Auraki, the return, under which personnel buried overseas after the 1st of January 1956 will be brought home to New Zealand. The blessing ceremony was attended by an NZDF contingent and members of the United States Army's American Samoa detachment. Kaumatua conducted karakia, prayers, and other Maori protocols, and an NZDF military chaplain delivered a short message to acknowledge the service of engineering mechanic Moore. Group Captain Carl Nixon, who is leading Te Auraki, said the NZDF was committed to ensuring the process was as dignified as possible for the families of those being repatriated. Today we are beginning the journey home for engineering mechanic First Class Russell Moore, Group Captain Nixon said. He is 137 servicemen and dependents that we anticipate repatriating over the next 6 months as part of Project Te Auraki. We are grateful to the government of American Samoa for agreeing to the disinterment and for looking after the graves for many years. We would also like to thank the U.S. Army's detachment in American Samoa for providing logistical support. An expert disinterment team of bioarchaeologists, forensic anthropologists and NZDF odontologists, dentists from New Zealand will now begin the exhumation and identification process, led by an NZDF doctor. It follows the disinterment of Royal New Zealand Air Force (RNZAF) Secretarial Officer Flight Lieutenant George Beban, MBE, and fireman leading aircraftman Ralph Scott from Fiji last week. Once the remains have been identified, the service personnel being repatriated will never be left alone, with a continuous vigil by NZDF personnel until they are handed over to their families. The 3 fallen personnel from Fiji and American Samoa are due to return to New Zealand on May 7 to be handed over to their families at a ramp ceremony at Base Oakia. Biographies of NZDF personnel being repatriated from Fiji and American Samoa. American Samoa, Engineering Mechanic First Class Russell James Craig Moore. Engineering Mechanic Moore enlisted in the RNZN on the 28th of July 1955. He was posted to the survey vessel HMNZS Lachlan, and while on the ship in Pago Pago, American Samoa, he died in an accident, aged 19, on the 9th of July 1956. He was buried in the naval section of Satala Cemetery, Pago Pago, Fiji. Flight Lieutenant George Thomas Beban, MBE, Administrative and Supply, Secretarial. Flight Lieutenant Beban served in the Second World War as an RNZAF medic, and he was discharged at the conclusion of hostilities. He re-enlisted in 1948, as an RNZAF Secretarial Officer. In 1954 he was posted with his family to RNZAF Station Lucala Bay as the Senior Secretarial Officer and Press Liaison Officer. Died of natural causes, aged 40, on the 31st of August 1956, in Fiji, and was buried in the military section of the Suva Cemetery. Leading aircraftman Ralph Henry Scott, fireman. Leading aircraftman Scott enlisted in the RNZAF as a fireman on the 27th of December 1956. He also served from 1952 to 56 in the Royal Air Force as a fireman. After a period of basic training he was posted to RNZAF Base Oakia as a fireman. In August 1960 he was posted to the fire crew at RNZAF Station Lucala Bay in Fiji. He died of natural causes, aged 28, on the 15th of October 1960, and was buried in the military section of the Suva Cemetery. Ends copyright